All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and do the next part of the next bonus segment of our Super Mario Brothers 40th anniversary special, in which this time around we're going to be playing the 1995 PC version of Jeopardy. So let's see how we do. No, we don't need to install it. Cancel. Yeah. No, we need to... Virtual machine settings. That's where we need to go. Whoopsie. And we're going to go into this folder here and play the 1995 PC version of Jeopardy. There we go. Hit OK. Let's begin now. Let's just do general knowledge.
Welcome to Jeopardy! Let's begin our game.
Thank you. I'll be him. I'm going to use the enter key. Yeah, we'll let him be a player. And we'll let her be a player. Let's go.
I'm Michael Grant, a commercial airline pilot. I flew jets in the Navy, and I've always been interested in military history.
Hello, I'm Ruth Goldsmith. I'm a chemist for a pharmaceutical company. I've been interested in science ever since my mother gave me my first science kit for my 10th birthday.
Now for the Jeopardy round, in which one daily double will appear somewhere on the board.
Movies.
Here are the categories.
Stadiums and arenas. Hints from Heloise. Headlines. And finally, golden phrases. Notice gold in quotation marks.
Good luck.
You know what that means.
Contestant number 1 will start with you.
Golden phrases 100.
Let's take a look at the answer.
This term refers to someone who marries another for money.
Contestant number 1.
What is a gold digger?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
In It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, the angels were bending near the earth to touch these.
Contestant number 3.
Nope.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Contestant number 2.
They're harps of gold?
Yes.
Yep.
That's correct. Contestant number 2.
A monument in Box Elder County, Utah, marks the site where this was driven on May 10, 1869.
Contestant number 3.
Golden plaque?
Incorrect. Contestant number 2.
Nope.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
I have no idea, so I'm going to stay put. The golden spike.
Contestant number 2. The answer there is...
The Beverly Hillbillies theme song calls oil Texas tea and this.
Contestant number 1.
What is black gold?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 1. Let's take a look at the answer.
Jason and the Argonauts stole it from a dragon in the land of Colchis. However you say it.
Contestant number 1.
What is the golden fleece?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 1.
Headlines 100. April 16th, 1912. 1,500 lives lost when this ship plunges into depths of the sea.
Contestant number 1.
What is the Titanic?
Yes, select again. Contestant number 1.
September 19th, 1975. This fugitive heiress had 3 companion seas without a fight in San Francisco.
Contestant number 1.
Who is Patty Hearst? All right.
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 1. The answer there is...
April 11th, 1951. Truman fires this general.
Contestant number 1.
Who was Douglas MacArthur?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 1.
June 29th, 1914. This Heir to Austrian throne assassinated after escaping bomb.
Contestant number 1?
Who is Franz Ferdinand? Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Yes.
All right.
That's correct. Contestant number 1. It's a daily double. Contestant number 1,
500.
what would you like to wager?
November 2nd, 1950. This 94-year-old dramatist and wit passes after saying, "I want to sleep." I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
George Bernard Shaw.
That's not right. Contestant number 1?
Clove of this planet beside a house plant will keep many pests away.
Contestant number 3.
Garlic?
You are correct.
All right.
Contestant number 3.
Never put artichoke leaves or asparagus down this device, Heloise warns. You're asking for trouble.
Contestant number 3.
The trash compactor? No.
Incorrect. Contestant number 1?
What is the garbage disposal?
Yes. That's correct. Contestant number 1?
Save old ones of these. The bristles are good for cleaning jewelry and window corners. Oh,
Contestant number
I hit the
2?
wrong button. Toothbrushes. Oh, yeah.
You are correct. Contestant number 2.
It's okay. Normal thread not holding these on? Then try fishing line or dental floss.
Contestant number 3.
Buttons? Yep.
Correct. Contestant number 3.
This beauty shop substance is a popular ballpoint painting remover.
Contestant number 1.
What is hairspray?
Yes. That's correct. Contestant number 1.
Although he starred in Bedtime for Bonzo, he didn't appear in its sequel, Bonzo Goes to College.
Contestant number 1.
Who is Ronald Reagan?
Yes. That's correct. Contestant number 1.
This 1956 film about townspeople duplicated by alien pods starred Kevin McCarthy.
Contestant number 3.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
You are correct. Contestant number 3.
This Raging Bull director served as montage supervisor on 1972's Elvis on Tour.
Contestant number 1.
Who is Martin Scorsese?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
Based on a Ray Bradbury novel, this 1966 film had no written credits. They were spoken.
Contestant number 3.
Fahrenheit 451?
Yes.
Yep.
That's correct. Contestant number 3.
In 1956, this singer took the title song from The Tender Trap to number 7 on the pop charts.
Contestant number 2.
It's not Elvis Presley, no.
Sorry. Incorrect.
Because he did Love Me Tender.
Contestant number 3.
Frank Sinatra?
Yes. That's correct. Contestant number 3.
This Houston structure is climate controlled at a temperature of 72 degrees Fahrenheit.
Contestant number 1.
What is the Astrodome?
Yes. That's correct. Contestant number 1.
The fourth version of this New York City arena opened in 1968 on the side of Penn Station.
Contestant number 1.
What is Madison Square Garden?
Yes. That's correct. Contestant number 1.
The opening and closing ceremonies of the 1980 Summer Olympics were held at this Moscow stadium.
Contestant number 2.
Lenin Central Stadium? Yep.
Right. Contestant number 2.
The Hoosier Dome is the site of the home games of this NFL team.
Contestant number 1.
Who are the Indianapolis Colts?
Yes. That's correct. Contestant number 1.
With a seating capacity of 33,925, this Red Sox park is the Major League's smallest.
Contestant number 1.
What is Fenway Park?
Yes. That's correct. Contestant number 1.
In Roman Catholicism, this admonition of sin to a priest is part of the sacrament of penance.
Contestant number 1.
What is confession?
Yes. That's correct. Contestant number 1.
A Jewish boy usually celebrates his bar mitzvah on the Sabbath following this birthday.
Contestant number 1.
What is his 13th?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 1.
The Isis shrine of the goddess Amaterasu is considered this country's most sacred.
Contestant number 3.
Japan? I think so.
You are correct. Contestant number 3.
The old believers of this church reject the reforms Patriarch Nikon made under Tsar Alexis.
Contestant number 3.
The Russian Orthodox Church.
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 3.
A man may be down, but he is never out is a slogan of this movement founded by William Booth.
Contestant number 3.
The Salvation Army.
You are correct.
Double Jeopardy.
Now for the Double Jeopardy round, with 2 daily doubles somewhere on the board in
20th
these
century.
categories.
Ballet. Black America. Poets' nicknames. And finally, Japan.
Good luck. Contestant number 2, we'll start with you. The answer there is...
As a baby, he was placed in an ark of bulrushes where he was found by Pharaoh's daughter.
Contestant number 1.
Who was Moses?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
He called himself the Apostle of the Gentiles.
Contestant number 3.
Peter? I don't think so.
I'm sorry, that's wrong. Contestant number 2.
Paul?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 2.
Jesus told him, before the cock crows, thou shalt deny me thrice.
Contestant number 2.
Peter.
You are correct. Contestant number 2.
And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in this land on the east of Eden.
Contestant number 3.
Nope.
I'm sorry, that's wrong. Contestant number 2.
The land of Nod.
You are correct. Contestant number 2.
This 5th book of the Old Testament is a record of the renewal of the covenant given at Mount Sinai.
Contestant number 1.
Deuteronomy.
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
Let's have ballet for 200. This sweet fairy dances a lovely pas de deux with her cavalier in most versions of the Nutcracker.
Contestant number 1.
Who is the Sugar Plum Fairy?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
Act 2 of this 19th century ballet features a pas de quatre danced by 4 young cygnets.
Contestant number 1.
What is Swan Lake?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
When Maurice Béjart reinterpreted the Stravinsky ballet, the title bird became a male role.
Contestant number 1.
What is the Firebird?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
Of first, second, or third position, the one in which the backs of the heels are closest together.
Contestant number 2.
Is it first position?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 2.
This Russian impresario is one of the leading characters in the ballet Nijinsky, Clown of God.
Contestant number 3.
It's not Baryshnikov, no.
Sorry, incorrect. Contestant number 2.
Sergei...
You are contestant number 2.
This home run hitting champ told his life story in the autobiography, I Had a Hammer.
Contestant number 1.
Who is Jackie Robinson? That's better.
Oh, sorry.
Jackie Robinson.
That's not right. Contestant number 3.
Henry Aaron?
You are correct.
Aaron, okay.
Contestant number 3.
Mrs. Louis Belson, she received the nickname Ambassador of Love from President Nixon.
Contestant number 2.
Pearl Bailey?
Yes,
Yep.
that's correct. Contestant number 2.
In 1964, Lal Bahadur Shastri succeeded him as Prime Minister of India.
Contestant number 3.
Jawaharlal
You are
Nehru.
correct. Contestant number 3. It's the Daily
You
Double.
can risk up to 1,000, Ruth. She's going to do just 600, all right? Here's the clue for you in the 20th century. An eyewitness of the 1917 October Revolution, he organized the Communist Labor Party in the U.S. in 1919. John Reed?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 3.
Very good. Geraldine Ferraro is famous as a politician, and the late Geraldine Ferrar is one of these.
Contestant number 2.
Not a publisher.
Sorry. Contestant number 3.
Model?
Sorry.
No. I don't have any idea, so I'm going to stay put. An opera singer.
Contestant number 3.
Elected mayor of New York in 1933, he read the comments over a radio during a newspaper strike.
Contestant number 2.
Not Nelson Rockefeller, no way.
I'm sorry. That's wrong. Contestant number 3.
Ed Koch? No.
No, I'm afraid that is not correct.
So Ruth is in the hole right now. Looking for Fiorello LaGuardia.
Contestant number 3.
In the 1970s, he became RCA's biggest selling country star since Elvis Presley.
Contestant number 3.
Charlie Pride?
Yes,
Yep.
that's correct. Contestant number 3.
This Nobel Peace Prize winner died in 1971, just 2 months after retiring from the UN.
Contestant number 2.
Ralph Bunche?
You are correct. Contestant number 2.
Theodore Kirchhoff's lyric poems about this city made him the poet of the Golden Gate.
Contestant number 1.
What is San Francisco? All right.
Yes. Contestant number 1.
In 1963, he moved to Dallas and got a job with the Texas School Book Depository.
Contestant number 2.
Lee Harvey Oswald?
You are correct. Contestant number 2.
Aikido, like judo, developed from this art of self-defense.
Contestant number 3.
Jiu-jitsu?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's correct.
Karate.
Contestant number 3.
That's okay. Just gonna do 1,000, all right? On this clue for you alone, in Japan. Here's the clue. One of Japan's first poets to open the Western trade, about half of it was destroyed August 9th, 1945. Nagasaki.
You are correct. Contestant number 3.
From 1967 to 1972, she served as the only woman and the only black in the Texas State Senate.
Contestant number 2.
Not Shirley Chisholm.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Contestant number 3.
Barbara Jordan.
You are correct. Contestant number 3.
Henry David Thoreau was the sage of this pond.
Contestant number 1.
What is Walden Pond?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
His nickname, the Good Grape Poet, came from a pamphlet that defended his Leaves of Grass.
Contestant number 1.
Who is Walt Whitman?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
He was the peasant bard of Scotland.
Contestant number 3.
Robert Burns, I think so.
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 3.
Born circa 1343, he became the father of English poetry.
Contestant number 3.
Chandler? I don't think so.
Incorrect. Contestant number 1.
Who is Geoffrey Chaucer? All right.
Yes, select again.
Got it.
Contestant number 1.
In the 30s, Lefty O'Doul of San Francisco toured Japan in exhibitions of this sport.
Contestant number 3.
Baseball. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Good job. Contestant number 3.
Instead of actors as in kabuki, the form of theater called bunraku uses these.
Contestant number 2.
Puppets. Yeah, I knew that, but it was too late.
You are correct. Contestant number 2. Here is the clue.
U.S. News and World Report said this country tried to sell Japan the Kuril Islands in 1991 for $30 billion.
Contestant number 2.
Russia?
Yes,
Yep.
that's correct. The final Jeopardy category is contestant number 1. What would you like to wager? The final Jeopardy clue is
With almost 9 million residents, this is the USA's most populous county.
contestant number 3. Your final Jeopardy response was right.
Los Angeles
Let's see what
County.
contestant number 3
So
wagered.
I know I'm right. I'm going to end up with $10,001.
Your total?
Not bad, not bad.
Contestant number 2, your final Jeopardy response was sorry.
Nope.
Let's see what contestant number 2 wagered.
1,600. So he drops to 1,600, half of it.
Your total? Contestant number 1, your final Jeopardy response was good job. Let's see what contestant number 1 wagered.
And I'll see you all for the next bonus game right after this.
Your total? Contestant number 1, you are now the reigning Jeopardy champion. Congratulations.
Thank you.